What's good, y'all? For those of y'all who are still up, I know it's late, but I really wanted to talk about this because I got this nice, positive, little fuzzy feeling after this DM exchange that I just had with this sister, and she was asking like if she can really like feel safe that this man might be really falling in love with her. Like, is it okay to assume this? And based on what she told me, I was like, it's not an assumption. This is a safe conclusion. He checks off all the boxes. So I want to discuss real quick, like how you know when a man is starting to fall in love with you. We all know what it looks like when a man is just trying to get in the bedroom with you, you know, whenever he's probably doing his own thing. But how to know when a man is starting to fall in love with you? The first way that you know, and this was true in her situation, actually all of these were true in a really cool way. The first way is that he's more open with you, but unintentionally so, or surprisingly so, even to him. So like, for instance, whenever a man starts off open with you, just vulnerable, just, hey, here's my life story and everything that I've been through. And here's everything that I'm pursuing in life and all of this, that, and the other. More than likely, that's just the type of guy that he is. You know, he's just a very open book. He just don't mind talking to just anybody. Nothing to see here. Or on the other extreme end, he might be a covert narcissist. And I'm not trying to be all negative, but we got to have balance. It's just the reality of it. A covert narcissist will open up to you prematurely as a way to implicate that they feel so safe and secure with you, and therefore you should feel equally safe and secure with them, and therefore you will give premature access to them in a way that you give to somebody that you know like that. You know what I'm saying? So they tell you all, my mama did me like this, my ex did me like that, I'm going through this, I feel like that, you know, these are my feelings, and you know, I'm communicating with you because we like that. And the truth is, they just want you to feel like y'all are like that so they can get something from you. But when a man is intentional about opening up to you after like the first 3 or 4 weeks, and then you notice that, you know, he is sharing his dreams with you. He is sharing when he's uncomfortable or whenever he's a bit stressed or maybe even overwhelmed. He's sharing with you things that he's struggling with. More than likely, you started to make him feel safe and secure with you. And therefore, that means that he's probably starting to fall in love with you. He's starting to fall for you. The second way that you could tell that a man is starting to fall in love with you is if you're able to motivate and inspire him to do things, especially in important aspects of his life. And let me be very clear. Let me stress this part. He has to let you motivate and inspire him. If you know, like I know, you can be the most motivating, inspiring person in the world, but you can't make nobody do nothing if they don't want to let you. And rarely is a man just so impressed with this woman that, you know, whatever she says, he just gonna do unless he's like a doormat. But whenever a guy is willing to listen, like say, for instance, on his spirituality, maybe his health and wellness, certain things that he's eating or supplements or something like that, some type of herbs or something, you know, or his career. If you say, hey, you know, I think it'd be a good idea if you started trying to do this thing or that thing, and you notice him implementing these things, that man is letting you inspire and motivate him. Therefore, you're coming up in the hierarchy of his value equation of his life. You know, if you can't motivate or inspire your guy, more than likely he don't love you. You're just a convenience for him. Hate to say it like that, but that's just what it is. But when a man lets you motivate or inspire him, he's starting to trust you with the direction of his life. He's not so caught up in his ego where his woman can't tell him anything. Therefore, he's able to let your love in the form of you motivating and maximizing everything that's in his life, which is the natural design of a woman anyway. The third sign that a guy is falling for you is whenever those things that you probably otherwise would be embarrassed about, sometimes should be embarrassed about, don't bother him. In fact, he may even find it charming, but, you know, I don't want to get grotesque or anything like that. But, you know, stuff that would normally just embarrass a woman around a guy. Maybe you pass gas or something like that. But let's go a little bit more deep because the Bible says that love covers a multitude of sins, right? And how I look at that is basically whenever a person loves you, you're not just one strike away from them being done with you. Not that you should ever take advantage of this. Of course, that don't apply to deal breakers, but I'm talking about, say, for instance, there's this story that was going around a couple of years ago where a girl went over to this guy's house and they were supposed to get busy or whatever, but she started bleeding, like her period came on. And, you know, it soaked through her clothes and all this stuff. She was so embarrassed, but the guy was like, hey, don't trip. You know, here's some extra clothes. He washed hers. He went and made a store run to get her some the tampons or whatever. Like, he just made sure she was good in a situation that she was so embarrassed about. And everybody was correct. At least I agreed in saying like that was such an act of pure love. And that's what I mean when I'm talking about situations where you may something bodily or something that maybe that you say and you just stick your foot in your mouth. But instead of getting all up in arms and offended, like he's cool. And not because what you did was cool, but because he values you and he gives you grace and he allows you room to be human sometimes. Like, you don't have to feel like, man, I'm walking on eggshells around this guy. That's likely a guy that's falling for you, or at least that's safe for you to fall for. The fourth way that you know that a guy is falling for you is whenever he's willing to spend the night with you strictly for you. He's willing to spend the night, like, he don't have to get anything from it. So similar to that situation, you know, you on your period, you notice guys who really don't rock with you like that, they don't want to be around you. They just want to be around whenever you're open for business. Y'all know what I'm talking about. But when a guy is falling for you, he'll come and spend the night. Emphasis on that, because typically a guy will come and check on you. He'll drop you off some soup. He'll order you a little Uber Eats or DoorDash or something like that if you ain't feeling too good. But if you're not feeling well, y'all supposed to go out on a Friday or Saturday night, and he's willing to come in and stay with you, watch that movie with you, make that soup for you, and not need nothing from you. Ain't one of them situations where, oh man, your mouth ain't sick, is it? Y'all done heard that nonsense before. Yo, your mouth ain't bleeding, is it? Nah, he's willing to just be there for you. That man is likely falling for you. Or if you're grieving, you know, and again, he's willing to cancel something on his schedule that was important that he already had planned just because you need somebody to be there for you. Or you might. Maybe you ain't even expressed that, but you just might need somebody. He might be able to add value. So he'll come and spend the night with you, hold you, cry with you, listen to you, let you vent or whatever. That man is likely falling for you. And one more way that you can tell that a guy's starting to fall for you, and this is going to kind of sound weird, but it is what it is whenever he's willing to adjust the way that he jokes just so he doesn't offend you. Now, the reason why this is important is because guys have a weird relationship with their humor, with our humor, because this applies to me too, but we have a weird relationship with it. So if a guy does not care about a woman, or he's not that deep in with that woman, and she clashes with his normal sense of humor, it's like the woman's gonna go. He's going to make it about her, not being able to take a joke, being too sensitive. Oh, I can't, talk around you. I can't be myself around you, et cetera, et cetera. But if you make it known to a guy that something that he's joking about is triggering to you or is highly offensive to you, and instead of guilting you about it or turning around on you, he genuinely apologizes. And then from that day forward, adjust the way that he jokes around you. And it's not like he's not going to retaliate in some passive aggressive way, like bring it up later or start making insults towards you or something like that. Like he's willing to put his humor second to your safety about the way that he finds humor. That man is likely falling in love with you. Like you are really important to that guy. I promise you that, because men love not only their humor, but the way that they find humor. And it's not so much a matter of a guy's character if he can do any of these things. It's really a matter of evolution. A lot of times you'll find guys who are good, but they're so underdeveloped, they haven't gotten their ego in check enough to be able to do any of these things. But when a guy has evolved, because that's what it's a matter of, evolution, if he can intentionally open up to you, and on either extreme is a guy who's underdeveloped. Either he will not open up to you because he's so hardened from everything he done been through, and his daddy done taught him this, and his mama laughed at him whenever he cried as a 3-year-old or whatever. Like, he may be a good guy, but he just has not evolved past that point where he can intentionally open up that door when the time is right emotionally. And the same thing goes for a guy who wants to use this as leverage, or he's just this open floodgate from day one. But when a guy has evolved, he can open up intentionally. When a guy has evolved, he can put his ego in check. When a guy has evolved, he has realistic expectations about a woman, that sometimes she's going to do things that might embarrass her, that might embarrass the both of you, that might offend him. And it's not just like a 3-strike deal on the very first offense or anything like that. So he has realistic expectations. He doesn't require you to be perfect all the time, to look good all the time, for your hair and makeup to be perfect, for the words that you choose to be perfect, for your emotions to be in check 100% of the time. He allows you grace. That's a guy that has evolved, and especially the selflessness aspect. Because a lot of times we look at relationships as something that should be carried by a woman, like it's supposed to be a gift for the woman, which is interesting because women are the prize. But then when you get in a relationship, you feel like you being like, you the one giving him everything. Like, yeah, you the prize, but he's the only recipient. Like, you're not supposed to receive nothing. And a lot of guys do actually have that mindset. It's an old, outdated, traditional mindset, but again, if a guy has evolved from that, and he understands that the prize also deserves a prize, Like I said, whenever a guy's willing to spend the night with you, but strictly for you, that's a man who has evolved. Now, instead of going out here trying to coach the guy up that you're dealing with, please don't do that, because you're going to end up wasting away the best years of your life. And a lot of times what you coach a guy up on, he going to go and implement those exact same plays with another woman who's not willing to wait, who wants that man who's already grown and already coached up before he even stepped to her. I advise you to put yourself in that category of woman. Be the woman that a man must come prepared for, instead of sitting there trying to button him up, tighten him up, shape him up, groom him up, grow him up into the type of man that can properly love you. Now, if you want more strategies on how to attract that type of man who comes prepared, click the link that's pinned right here. Y'all see that link? Is pinned right here. Get access to my masterclass, Secrets to Making Evolved Men Crave You, where I break down how to attract prepared men, or better yet, should I say, how to make evolved men crave you, pursue you. Multiple men, because you know, just because he's evolved don't mean that he's right for you. But when you attract multiple men and you use these strategies, again, this is absolutely free. You can attract more than one, so you can choose the one that's right for you. Not that you need to be dating seriously multiple guys. But again, just click the link. Over an hour, I dropped gems. I broke it down, and over thousands of women are using these strategies to attract much higher quality men. The link is also in the caption as well. But back to what I was saying. Whenever a guy is falling for you, you know, you'll notice this shift of comfort, of safety, again, of openness, of self-sacrifice to an extent, not of who he is and at his core or anything like that. I'm not saying that if a guy loves you, you're gonna be able to snap your fingers and, you know, tell him to jump and he just say how high. But he's definitely, you're gonna notice him putting himself somewhat second and making more room for you in his life in ways that heavily impact his life. That's how you ultimately know that a guy is falling for you. So y'all let me know what you think about this in the comments. If you got anything from this, share this right now for somebody else on your timeline who you want to bless with this message. And also, if you're in the market for an evolved man, click here, pinned here in this comment. Y'all see this link? Click the link right here. Get access to the masterclass. It's absolutely free. Secrets to Making Evolved Men Crave You, if you're into that type of thing.